Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Vedanta Treatise, the lesson self-analysis, the topic, the problem of introversion. The most important thing in self-analysis is the beginning point of assessing what you are, where you are. That is a very important aspect in self-analysis, to assess yourself. And what is the fundamental starting point of self-analysis? The fundamental starting point of self-analysis is, are you an introvert or are you an extrovert? It starts from there. Self-analysis is not about, people generally call us, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses? This is not self-analysis in Vedanta. For it is accepted that there is a fundamental weakness, which is ignorance. So what are your weaknesses? There is no need to ask that. You are weak because of your ignorance. Now, self-analysis starts from this angle. What is it? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? And then, depending on the conclusion that you come, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? You administer the spiritual courses. You practice the spiritual courses according to that conclusion that you arrive at about yourself, as in you are introvert or extrovert. Even here, it is very clear, predominantly the people are extrovert by nature. Predominantly the people are extroverted by nature. Predominantly the people are extroverted by nature because predominantly they are a victim of the senses and the mind. The senses and the mind naturally goes outward only. The senses and the mind naturally goes towards the world outward only. You cannot turn the senses. You cannot turn the mind introvert. It is the intellect it is the intellect that would be able to turn you, look inside. It is the intellect that would help you to become an introvert. So, predominantly people are extrovert, and also it is understood that why people are predominantly extrovert, because they are predominantly using the senses and the mind. Jnanendriyas, the organs of perception, has to go towards the external world only. For only when it goes towards the external world, it will gather data. Therefore, it has to go towards the external world. Mind, for its emotions and attachment, it has to go towards objects and beings only. That is where Vedanta comes and says, the problem of introversion is because of predominantly being led by the senses and the mind and not using the intellect at all. It is the intellect that would help you to look within. It is the intellect that would help you to look within. What is looking within means that he is going to describe now. What is looking within means that he is going to describe now. So, till now, what I'm trying to explain is what is extroversion, what makes a human being to be extrovert. Predominantly dependent on senses and the mind would make you an extrovert only. The sign of extroversion is wanting to correct the other. The sign of introversion is self-correction. Again, I repeat. The sign of an extroverted person is wanting to correct the other. The conviction in if the other is corrected, everything will be all right. The conviction, the belief, the understanding that one has, correct the world, everything will be all right, is extroversion. Introversion is world is as it is. It doesn't need any correction. What it needs correction is, I have a cataract vision. I have a vision problem. I need to correct myself. Is introversion. Can we do both, sir? Can we do both? As I am correcting myself, can I also correct the world? You can't sail on two boats going in opposite directions at the same time. Don't try that. Or you are trying already. That's why I'm saying don't try it. What are you trying? What is everybody trying? As I am trying to correct myself, wherever possible, I will correct the world also, sir. The sign of extroversion is a conviction that the world needs correction. The sign of introversion is I need knowledge. Don't even say I need correction. The sign of introversion is I need knowledge. Because according to Vedanta, correction is not the style of Vedanta. Correction is the style of correction, punishment, adallam teaching, correction, punishment, adallam sign of terrorism. Adallam. Those are all signs of terrorism. Vedanta is not terrorism. Vedanta says ignorance. World doesn't need correction. I need knowledge. Purida? Huh? This is extroversion, introversion. Abdi purinchukonu adu correct. World doesn't need correction. I need knowledge. That's introversion. Extroversion is grades. What are the grades in what are the grades in extroversion in the deteriorating order? I am perfect. World only needs correction. That's the lowest point. I am correct, sir. All the correction has to be done to the world outside. And the politicians allam correct panna, everything will become all right. If you are frustrated going to the government office for 3 weeks, yeah, you will say the government officials allam correct panna, especially in the IT office correct panna, everything will become all right. Adhu the commissioners la irukkranga avangala dhaan thaanga mudiyala. And when they need illaya inga kuda or commissioner ukandirukkranga class la kuda. There is a commissioner sitting here also. Oh, they need correction, sir. Once those IT commissioners are corrected, everything will become corrected. I don't need correction. Or tell me how to correct them. Teach me so that I can correct. This is the extroversion height. In the deterioration, a human being cannot deteriorate any further than this. Speciesly, this is the deterioration because at least the other species don't have this problem of wanting to correct. One lion will never try to correct another lion. One tiger will never teach another tiger. They all know and they all. So slightly better in extroversion is I need correction. At the same time, you should agree that other also need correction. Don't keep telling as though all the problem is with me, others are perfect. Carefully follow now. This is the problem in misunderstanding Vedanta. Vedanta is not saying others are perfect. You alone are imperfect. It's not saying that. Vedanta says you gain knowledge from the angle of having understood the knowledge. If you still feel somebody is interested in coming and listening to you, asking guidance from you, you teach. Yeah. Then you do all that is perfectly understandable. It is okay to do. Opposite of that is, as I am correcting, as I am correcting myself, I correct the world also. Correct both of us simultaneously, sir. It doesn't work that way. These are all extroversion. And what is introversion? Introversion is world is as it is. World will be what the world is. I need knowledge. As the introversion. I need knowledge. Very difficult is to convince people to gain knowledge, because when it comes to this knowledge, everybody knows everything already. Yeah. How to make money, I will not know. How to treat the body, I will not know. But what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, is known very clearly, isn't it? Is the extroversion. How to make money and the idea, that I don't know. So I have to borrow that from somebody. How to heal my body, how to cure my disease, I don't know. I need to take help from somebody. But what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, that knowledge I don't need. For that knowledge is known already. So when he says the problem of introversion, you need to understand what is extroversion and what is introversion clearly. Now that we are here, now that the book is using this word, I'm going into a short introduction of these two words, introversion and extroversion. Normally, we only use this word extrovert and introvert. I never sit and explain or analyze it in the way that I am saying it now. This is the topic, the problem of introversion. Yeah. Now with these, because in self-analysis, it is very important. The starting point is very important. What is the starting point? Am I an introvert or am I an introvert or am I an introvert or am I an extrovert? That clarity, that knowledge has to be there very clearly. Is it okay till now? Yeah. With this, I go into the text. We read the text and then we'll see whatever needs to be studied after. The problem of introversion. The attractions of the world are tantalizing. I think I have covered this paragraph. I'll just read it once again. The attractions of the world are tantalizing. Human beings ignorant of their inner wealth are drawn towards them. Hence, the human tendency is to be extrovert. You are unaware of your infinite power within and seek power in the external world. So, are you ignorant of your infinite joy within and seek joy in the world outside? Likewise, ignoring the infinite knowledge of yourself, you seek knowledge externally. The kingdom of heaven lies within you, yet you pursue the world for precious trifles. The paradox arises from the problem of turning introvert. Rare indeed is the one who looks within oneself. Unless you look within, you will not recognize the inherent desires that veil the self, much less realize the infinite nature of yourself. The extroverted nature makes it difficult for you to investigate your weaknesses and take corrective measures. Instead, you find faults in others. You are able to do this with ease. But your own imperfections, even if they may be several times magnified, remain obscure. This grave flaw in human beings is well brought out by John Gay in his poem The Turkey and the Ant. The poet describes a turkey in a barn tired of eating grain. It decided to leave the barn and seek a variety of food. The young ones followed the mother bird. They soon reached a hill full of black ants. The turkey started devouring them and bid her young ones eat freely. For breakfast, they consumed numberless ants. The turkey was quite unaware of the massacre it was committing. Ironically, it cursed man for gluttony in consuming turkey for Christmas, a sin that seemed nothing compared to its devastating consumption for breakfast. The poem highlights this problem of recognizing one's own faults. The poem. In other men we false can spy and blame the mote that dims their eye. Each little speck and blemish find, to our own stronger errors blind. A turkey tired of common food forsook the barn and sought the wood. Behind her ran an infant train, collecting here and there a grain. Draw near, my birds, the mother cries, this hill delicious fare supplies. Behold the busy negro race, see millions blacken all the place. Fear not, like me with freedom eat, an ant is most delightful meat. How blessed, how envied were our life, could we but escape the poulterer's knife. But man, cursed man, on turkey preys, and Christmas shortens all our days. Sometimes with oysters we combine, sometimes assist the savory shine. From the low peasant to the lord, the turkey smokes on every board. Sure, men for gluttony are cursed, of the 7 deadly sins the worst. An ant, who climbed beyond her reach, thus answered from the neighboring beech. Ere you remark another sin, bid thy own conscience look within, control thy more voracious bill, nor for a breakfast nations kill. John Gay. You should therefore refrain from finding flaws in others, criticizing others' failings. Behind every flaw you recognize in another, perhaps you have the same more pronounced in you. Do not consume your life merely detecting the blemishes in the outside world. Judge not others, cautioned the Lord Jesus. The energy you waste in judging others could as well serve to improve yourself. Moreover, by blaming the wise in others, you miss their virtues. You become involved in negativities and lose the positive side of life. Do not give up the rose for its thorns. You would soon realize the wisdom in the resounding words of Edward Wallace Hawke. There is so much good in the worst of us and so much bad in the best of us that it hardly behoves any one of us to talk about the rest of us. What he is saying till now is quite a long one, so we will divide it into 2 and study. With this one sequence of thought flow. First thing he is saying, the extroverted nature makes it difficult to look within. Second, the extroverted nature makes it difficult for you to investigate your own weaknesses and take corrective measures. The general flaw in human beings he is talking about. He is taking this as an example to analyze the extroverted and introverted nature. What is the general flaw in a human being? the general flaw in a human being is the natural tendency to find the fault in another. You don't need training. You don't need to be taught to find a fault in the other. It is so obvious. You can see it so glaringly. You don't need anybody. You don't need any Shastra. You don't need any Guru. You don't need anybody to teach you that. Yeah. Even the small child in a house, we can see that very clearly. So, finding the flaw, finding the mistake in another is so natural. Natural doesn't mean it is correct. You have to refrain from it. Remember this law. It is natural, and natural doesn't mean it is. It is natural, and natural doesn't mean it is the right thing to do. To put it very simply, to get angry is natural. Doesn't make anger correct, no? To get jealousy is natural. That doesn't make jealousy the right thing. Nails to grow is natural. That doesn't mean you allow it to. That doesn't mean you allow it to grow. You have to clip. It is natural to grow, and you have to keep clipping it. Therefore, it is natural to do this. That doesn't mean it is correct. One of the flaw in thinking nowadays is they use the word natural and they make it appear. The moment you use the word natural, it appears to be the right thing to do. It appears to be the accepted thing to do. It appears perfectly legitimate to do that. Vedanta comes and says, natural doesn't mean it is right. You have to make an effort. You have to make an effort to overcome this. Behind every flaw that you recognize in another, perhaps you have the same more pronounced in you. He is saying perhaps because of his compassion. The truth is, I would say, I am not as compassionate as him, and I am not an original guru like him. So I will not put it like this. I will say, behind every flaw you recognize in another, you have the same pronounced in you. I will make a direct one-on-one connection. Behind every flaw you recognize another. Look at the way he puts it. So yeah, he's so diplomatic. He's so compassionate. He's so wonderful. Perhaps you have the same more pronounced in you. Now edit panna kuduthundarna, the perhaps and word within brackets I would have put, or eliminate the word perhaps itself. You, behind every flaw you recognize in another, you have the same, but more pronounced in you. It means it is so pronounced in you that you are able to so easily see it in another. Yeah, that's all it means. It is so pronounced in you that you are able to see it very clearly in another. Do not consume your life. Do not consume your life means waste your time detecting the blemishes of another. Do not waste your time detecting the blemishes of another, criticizing and blaming the another when you are doing the same. Don't forget that. It is not only merely criticizing, detecting, blaming. When you are doing the same. Yeah. Somebody puts one message in Twitter. Unless you are also on Twitter, unless you are on Twitter and reposting and commenting on the same Twitter back, you both are on the same plane. One man is using it to say something. Now you are also using it to say something else. So both are on the same plane. That man is saying whatever he wants to say. Why should I bother about it? Why should I get agitated about it? Let me just ignore it. That fellow wouldn't be. Negativity will not be seen at all if another negative person don't fight it. If he just ignores it, negativity will die away very soon. But then what will another negative person do? He will see that negativity in another, take it up, blow it up into enormous proportions, and all those who carry similar will join one. All those who carry similar will join that group. Yeah. So now there are two groups. What? Supporting that man and going against that man. And both are making the same. Both are making the same mistake. To highlight this point, beautifully he brings in the poem, the turkey and the ant. Beautifully, the poem Turkey and the Ant. In other men we false can spy, and blame the mote that dims their eye. Each little speck and blemish find, to our own stronger errors blind. This is the point. It's a very simple story. It's a very simple, straightforward poem, not complicated at all. The first poem, the first lesson, the 3-year course starts with this poem. The course on Vedanta starts with this poem, the turkey and the ant. Turkey and the ant. The turkey and the mother and the little ones, they are living in a barn where there is no dearth of food. Where there is no dearth of food. Barn, you understand. Clear? Go down. Food Corporation of India, go down. Barn. Where hundreds and thousands of sacks of grain is there, and the turkey and the turkey and the little ones are living in that barn, where there is no dearth of food at all. What is the starting point of extrovertedness? Tired of common food, forsook the barn and sought the wood. Tired of common food. Tired of common food. Every day, ade idli, dosa is not. One day we need a variety. Yeah, one day same hot coffee. One day cold coffee. Tired of common food, forsook the barn and sought the wood. That is the starting point of. That is the starting point of the search. What is it? That fatigueness, tiredness with what one, tiredness, fatigue with what is abundantly available, and seeking something more with the hope that will give happiness. Extroverted. This is extroverted nature. Sought the wood. Now she went out. Behind her ran an infant train, collecting here and there a grain. Yeah. Herd instinct. One fellow goes, all the fellow will. Yeah. One fellow buys one iPhone, everybody has to buy that iPhone. Yeah. One fellow does it, everybody has to do it. Then only you are part of the. Yeah, then only you are part of the group. Otherwise, you are an outcast. Therefore, behind her ran an infant train, collecting here and there a grain. As they went into the wood, what they saw? They saw an ant hill. They saw an ant hill. Ant will build the hill. The snake will come, eat all the snakes, and it will occupy that place also. You know that? Snake doesn't build that. Pambu puttunradhu vandu actually it is not the snake's house. It is the ant's house, and the snake has illegal occupation. Not only illegal occupation, irukradala mulingittu vera. It swallows all the ants there and it occupies. That is what is known as ant hill. Because we have never seen an ant hill. நம்ம பாம்பு புத்துன்னு தான் பார்த்திருக்கிறோம் இல்லையா? பாம்பு புத்தே கிடையாது, எறும்பு புத்து தான். எறும்பு புத்துல பாம்பு வந்து உட்கார்ந்து, you call it as பாம்பு புத்தா? பாம்பு புத்தே சொல்லக்கூடாது. What you have to say? illegal occupation கூட இல்ல. அது என்னது அது? What do you do? Aggression அது. Aggression, forcefully taking away the and you know how the ant builds that ant hill? Such a tiny ant, millions of ant gets together. You know, in their little body they can carry only a small bit of grain. They bring the little bit of grain of sand, the millions and millions get together and put up a beautiful ant hill. Yeah, அது வந்து பாம்பு என்க்ரோச் பண்ணும். என்க்ரோச்மெண்ட் அது. என்க்ரோச்மெண்ட் கூட I don't know. Illegal occupation. Encroachment na kuda oru onnu illada edathila you can go and encroach. Idu vandu the fellow worked hard and built it. You swallow that fellow and occupy that. Adu ennatha solru? Are you able to follow? This is an ant hill. Now, as they went into the wood, the turkey saw the ant hill. Draw near, my birds, the mother cries. Because the little ones are going this side, that side, this side, that side, everywhere. Draw near, my birds, the mother cries. This hill delicious fare supplies. If we have been sitting in the barn, so in the Vedanta lectures, barn we wouldn't have, if we have not explored and if I had not come out, taken the chance, we would have never gotten a wonderful, this hill delicious fare supplies. Behold the busy Negro race. See millions blacken all the place. Because they are still running around the hill. Some are trying to protect the hill, some are bringing food, some are making the food, you know. It's a colony. So everybody is doing their respective job. Very busy, respective jobs. Fear not. Like me, with freedom, eat. The turkey says, see how I am eating today. I'm just swallowing everything. Like me, fear not. Like me, with freedom, eat. And ant is most delightful meat. An ant is most delightful meat. As it is enjoying, the mind goes. Where the mind goes? Same fault. What is the same fault? But how blessed, how envied where our life could be but escape the poulterer's knife. See, delightful ant hill is there, meat is there. If we can finish this ant hill in 2 days and then go to the next place and finish them also, and we can go on and on and on enjoying life. If only that poulterer is not there. Who's the poulterer? Man, cursed man. But man, cursed man. This fellow has to go to Naraka. The poulterer is a cursed fellow. He will go to Naraka and pay the price. Just as he is cutting me now, he will also be cut into pieces in Naraka. But man, cursed man, on Turkey prays and Christmas shortens all our days. The tradition there is every Christmas they have a turkey. That is the tradition. Like everybody has their own culture. One of the persons I was talking to in the last 1 week, he was telling me that, sir, I have to go to my native place puja thing, and I can't stand that puja. I can't stand that temple. I can't stand that puja. I said, why? Because every year they cut one goat. Every year they cut one goat as a prayer. Are you able to follow? I told her, but what is your problem? You are not a vegetarian anyway, no, I said. If you are a vegetarian and having this problem, it is understandable. Anyway, you are not a vegetarian, and what is your problem? Every day consuming exactly the same turkey and the ant. I quoted this poem, Turkey and the Ant also. There is exactly no difference between you and the turkey. And that lady is not going to come back to me again. I know that. Yeah, she will not come back to me. She will not come back to me again. She will, because the way her face changed and the reaction and all that, I know she will not back. But then it is good also. Yeah. Otherwise, I will be cut one day. Yeah, I will be slaughtered one day. Exactly the same thing. Every day eating meat, and can't survive without meat for a day. And that person is saying that I can't stand going to the temple because a goat is slaughtered. We are not saying slaughter or don't slaughter. When every day you are cutting, somebody cutting it once a year makes it appear so big and so sinful, and she is genuinely bitterly criticizing and complaining. I said exactly Turkey and the Ant poems case. I said exactly the Turkey and the Ant poems case. If only the number of chickens that you have consumed in the last 50 years, if only one chicken can come back alive, and what the chicken will say, here you remark another sin, bid thy own conscience look within, control thy mere voracious bill, nor for a breakfast nations kill. Are you able to follow? The same mistake that one makes million times bigger, million times more, is what she is criticizing when the others are making that same mistake. In fact, million times less intense. To put it very simply, this entire anthill, the turkey will devour it in half a day and go. Millions, it's finished in half a day. It means in a year, how many anthills it can consume? How many millions and billions of ant it destroys compared to the man killing one turkey, that too on a Christmas, and they share also. It's not that everybody eats one turkey. Comparatively, yeah. What is the poem saying? Are you able to follow the poem now? Here you remark another sin, bid thine own conscience look Look within. I said, if I say slaughtering is bad, is understandable, ma. But you getting agitated about slaughter, I cannot understand. Are you able to follow? Why? Because every flaw you recognize in another, you have the same more pronounced in you, which is impossible to accept. You will turn back and say, no, maybe what you are saying is applicable to others, sir, but not to me. Because I don't belong to the same category. If you don't belong to the same category, and if you have evolved, if you have grown, there will not be a criticism, there will not be an anger, there will be a compassion. There will not be a hatred. There will not be, look at the beautiful word that he uses, that judging will not happen. Judge not others. The blessed word of that man. Simple teacher. If Shankaracharya goes into elaborate logic and reason and explanation, Christ goes into simple parables and stories and statements. One of the simplest teachers the world have seen is that man. He puts it so beautifully. Judge not others, for you would be judged by the standards that you use to judge another is the same standard that would be used to judge you too. The same standards. Therefore, judge not others. What happens because of this? What happens because of constantly pointing out the fault in another and judging? What happens when you do that constantly? When you do this constantly, all your energies are getting wasted in the mental agitations. Number two, all your energies are wasted in trying to correct the other when the other is not interested in correction. That person is giving an opinion. He is not coming and asking, is my opinion correct? Is my understanding correct? He is not asking that. He is only saying, this is my opinion. Just as you are entitled to have an opinion that, just as you are entitled to have this opinion that, Badri, I assume you have that opinion, that Aravindan is good. Just as you are entitled to have this opinion, there are 40 others who is entitled to have that opinion that he is useless. If some says Aravindan is extraordinary, there is a whole lot that will say he is the most useless. Now, who is praising me, I really don't know. I can give you the list of people who all says I'm useless. Yeah. Starting from my home only. There are two aunts in my house. They say, you are fit for nothing. If somebody has an opinion that he is good, somebody will have an opinion that you are bad. Get excited when somebody says you are good, trying to go and prove to the other that you are right, when the other carries an opinion that you are wrong. Takes away all the energy out. that energy that you are wasting, you can gainfully, meaningfully use it for your own growth, he said. That is introversion. The energy that is getting wasted can be used gainfully for your own inner growth. What is inner growth? Every human being needs to concentrate their efforts in investigating their own personality. This is introversion. Investigate, concentrate the efforts in investigating about their own personality. When you look at the negativity in the another, even if you see something positive, that positive will be discounted and the negative will be, and the negativity will stand pronounced. Because I tell you, see, the nature of the mind is it has a natural affinity to negativities. See, somebody has done good to you. How long can you say thank you? Sir, our nalladu panna sir, thank you solittu mudichitan athoda. I have thanked, that's it, it's over. No. Somebody had harmed you. Somebody had said some word about you. How long you will carry the anger and the frustration? It means mind has such a natural affinity to that which is negative by nature, even though verbally you may talk about the positive qualities also. Yeah, verbally we talk about the positive qualities. அவ்வளவு இருந்தா கூட சில நல்லதெல்லாம் இருக்கு சார் அவங்கள்ட்ட. Why don't you talk about that predominantly? அது இருக்குது, பட் ஆனா negativity is more. Know what to do. When the negativity of others is agitating you, frustrating you, you are having that. When the negativity of another brings about a compassion in you, you have grown. Again I repeat, then growth. When you see a negativity in another and that negativity is agitating you, frustrating you, irritating you, you want to correct, you want to punish, you want to change, it means you have it. You see a negativity in the another, and then compassion comes out, love comes out. It means you have the right knowledge. But sir, compassion and love on itna, then how I will correct? I will only accept and go with it. No. Yeah. Compassion and love வந்தாச்சுன்னா அப்புறம் எப்படி சார் கோபம் வரும்? அப்புறம் எப்படி கரெக்ஷன் பண்ண முடியும்? So I have to correct. I need to have that irritation and anger and frustration. Negativity bringing about and anger, frustration means you have it. Negativity bringing out compassion. Negativity bringing about compassion, love. It means you have the right knowledge. Correction doesn't happen out of compassion and love. Correction always happens out of anger and hatred. How correction should happen? When the mother sees the negativity in the child, she wants to correct the child, but she will not hate the child. Acceptance is there. My child is there, but she will want to correct the negativity. She will make an effort to change the child, but deep in her there will not be an anger, there will not be an hatred, there will not be a frustration. Are you able to follow? Also he says, you you may see the positivity and ignore the positivity, or you may see it and dismiss it, and the attention always goes to the attention always goes to the attention always goes to that which is negative. I praise somebody. I have tried this with any number of persons. More than 80% I have tried this. I know who they are irritated get. I know who they are irritated with. So simply I will praise some quality in them. Instantaneously, sir, ungalku theriyadu sir. Immediately, first reaction is, you don't know. What I don't know about that person. If I know about that person, I won't be praising that person so much, no. I tell you, so. If you want to know the character of another, praise somebody in front of that person. You will know the character of that person. Not the one who you are praising, the one who is listening to the praise. நீங்க சொல்றதெல்லாம் கரெக்ட், ஆனா நீங்க இருக்கும்போது தான் சார் அந்த ஃபேஸ் உங்ககிட்ட அப்படி வேஷம் போடுறாங்க. ஆஃப்டர் யூ கோ அவே தே ஆர் வெரி டிஃபரெண்ட். அது உங்களுக்கு தெரியாதுலையே. யூ ஆர் சோ டம். ஏமாந்து போயிடுறீங்க சார். இப்படிதான் நீங்க. This is how you are. This is how you are getting cheated. I also say correct. I have to come and learn from you only how to. If you really want to know, praise somebody to that person whom they have an animosity or hatred. This is what is known as the poem Turkey and the Ant, the problem of introversion. Is it okay till now? Part B practical Vedantangradnala in the lesson konja hurtful இருக்கும். Don't worry, we will finish this lesson very soon. And then we go into the states of consciousness, the 3 yogas and all that. Angalla it will be very theoretical only. There we will be very comfortable. Just to put up with that lesson just to put up with this chapter for a while. Avladha. Slightly, because it holds a mirror straight in front of us. It holds a mirror straight in. I tell you, so hilarious it is. When I come back, I used to laugh at. And I really love to hear when somebody says, what a fool you are. ஏமாந்து போயிடுறீங்களே நீங்க இப்படி ஏமாந்து போயிட்டீங்களே. I tell you, I love to listen to that remarks from people. And I have, that's what I'm saying. No, இங்க உட்கார்ந்து இருக்கிறவங்களே 80% have told me that in some context or the other. You don't know. தெரியாது சார் உங்களுக்கு. Why? Because நீங்க இருக்கும்போது they act differently. They have 2 faces. What are the 2 faces? In front of you, they act differently. But I am not like that. I am very honest and straightforward. ஒரே face தான். In front of you also one face. Behind you also the same face. Can't tolerate, can't be grateful to the virtue of the another. Can't accept the virtue in the other. Can't accept it. Very difficult. Why? Because in the eyes of one's own self, the starting point of thinking, the starting point of analysis in everybody's thinking, one's own self, is this: I am perfect, the other is imperfect. Now we will start the discussion. Before we start the discussion, let us set the grounds clear. What are the grounds? We will set it very clear. I am perfect. You are imperfect. Now let us start. Okay. What is the other saying? What is the other saying? The other is also saying the same thing. I am perfect, you are imperfect. So, what is the conversation between the two? Actually, in a conversation, what is happening? What is happening in any conversation between any two people? Two things has to be proven to the other. What? I am perfect, I am correct. You are imperfect, you are wrong. You want to prove it to the other. Now, what the other is trying to prove it to you? Same. Correct. The same. Therefore, there can never be a meeting. Clear? Meeting. There is never a meeting. For meeting means proving to the other. What is proving to the other? That I am right. I am right. You are wrong. In introversion, you say the world is as it is. The world will be as it is. The world is as it is, neither perfect nor imperfect, neither right, neither wrong. The world is as it is. Through knowledge, I need to know how to see it. I need to know how to see it rightly. From this extreme, people go to the other extreme. What is the other extreme? In the name of positivity, they become so blind, and whatever virtues the other don't have, they start putting it on the other. That's the inner extreme. Are you able to follow? And these are all positive thinkers, and they think they are all positive thinkers, very good people. What? The virtues that they don't have, sir, English மாதிரி ஒரு perfect English, ஒரு மணி நேரம் பேசினா அதுல 20 நிமிஷம் கிராமர் மிஸ்டேக் தான். அவரை மாதிரி ஒரு பெர்ஃபெக்ட் இங்கிலீஷ் கத்துக்கணும்னா சார் கிட்ட தான் போகணும். எங்கிட்ட வந்தா என்ன அவங்க இங்கிலீஷ் இருக்கிற இங்கிலீஷும் even the existing English that you have goes away. So, in the name of positivity, what would you do? The other extreme. You start projecting that which the others don't even have. So, either way, you are making the same mistake. Either exaggerate that one or project that which is not there. Vedanta says, yeah, even the other day on the Sunday evening, Guru Purnima, he said, no, I am a realist. He said, no, Vedanta is that. If you remember in the Guru Purnima lecture, one of the statements that he made is, I am neither an optimist nor a pessimist. I am a realist. And that realist is Vedanta. Are you able to follow? That realist is what is known as Vedanta. This is one half of the discussion with the problem of introversion. And then there is another half of the discussion with the problem of introversion, which I am not going to start today. I will start that in the next session. For today, we only discuss these aspects of introversion versus extroversion. Just take care of yourself. The world will take care of itself. Just take care of yourself. The world will take care of itself. You have no right to peep into another person's life. You have no right. It's ugly, to peep into another person's house. It's ugly to overhear what they are talking, no? Nowadays, it doesn't happen. Previously, 15 years back, 20 years back, it used to happen a lot. The phone la cross talk no varum. Yeah. As soon as you lift to the phone itself, you can hear some conversation. going on. Yeah, you don't even have to dial a lot. You just lift the phone and keep it. You can hear some. Why are you not talking but listening? No, somebody, some conversation is going, and I'm only listening to that. It's ugly to listen to the conversation of. And it's a national hobby to do this, no? When somebody is checking the phone, the person sitting, we have to peep what you are checking. When I am checking my phone, when you are checking your phone, I need not peep and look into what you are. It comes so naturally. And it comes so effortlessly also. And when the other person closes it, you get angry also. And when the other person closes it, you get angry also. What are you hiding from me? What is there to hide? The fellow doesn't want you to know. No, he doesn't want you to know. What makes you think that everything has to be told and known to you? Why are you? Romba secretive ஆளுங்க சார் அவங்க எல்லாம். Why they are all very secretive? Because when they opened the phone, you peeped in, they said, don't you have manners? They are all very secretive person. I am a very open, straightforward person. Actually, so funny too. You don't need any other entertainment other than human beings only. Movie, just to see the people around, you are constantly entertained. Are you able to follow the introversion and an extroversion? The second part of it I will take up in the next class. Suresh have a question. Suresh, what is your question?
Sir, you said when you see a negativity in others, that means you have it in you. So how do I technically understand this, and how do I identify this?
Now, the first thing is when I see a negativity, first is I see. Technically, you asked, no, I'm explaining technically. First is I see. What I see, the mind interprets it. When the mind interprets it, the material with which it uses to interpret is what? Its own likes and dislikes. So when you call something as negative, you are projecting your own likes and dislikes on the other. Are you able to follow? Okay. Again, I repeat. You see a person doing an action, a word. You see a person using a word. Now, you have your own set of words, which is right, wrong, good, bad. For example, soru அப்படின்றது என்ன? It's not a vulgar word, no? It's not a bad word. It's not a vulgar word. Sorundrathu is a very good. It's a very good word. A few in my family thinks that it is a derogatory word. When you soru podun sonna, I will be shocked. Because how can you speak such a vulgar language? Now, is that a vulgar word? Another beautiful word in Tamil. Yeah, இப்போ அது ரொம்ப derogatory ஆயிடுச்சு. Grandmotherன்றதுக்கு என்ன word?
Party.
Huh?
Party.
What is the pure Tamil word for grandmother?
Aya.
Correct. That is the beautiful word. That's a wonderful word. That's a beautiful Tamil word to refer to grandmother. it has become so derogatory. Are you able to follow what I'm saying? Now, if I have that conditioning, if I am from that conditioning, how would I see it? I will get very agitated and frustrated. No, are you able to follow what I'm saying? So first is I see something, I hear something. That is the stimuli that I get. That stimuli that I receive goes into me and it reacts. When it reacts, what it reacts with? It reacts with the mind. It reacts with the mind. And what is the mind made up of?
Likes and dislikes.
Likes and dislikes. Likes and dislikes, emotions, impulses, attachment. All this is what the mind is made up of. Now, when the stimuli that I receive reacts with the mind, what will be the response? That response is what comes out as negativity out of me. Now, the question here is, what is responsible for the negative response? Is the stimuli or the reaction mechanism? Where would you place the responsibility of the negativity? To the stimuli or to the reacting mechanism? Vedanta comes and says 100% reacting mechanism only. 100% on the reacting mechanism only, because the reacting mechanism, if it is the mind, this is how it would be. This is how technically it works. The stimuli enters. If there is no intellect, all this happens in the absence of intellect. All this happens in the absence of intellect. In the presence of the intellect, what it would say? What it would say? This is the word I use, that is the word they use. What is the holiness and what is the unholiness in this? What is one word superior? What is another word inferior? Because of my training and studying so much of Sanskrit, that word comes naturally to me. Somebody who has studied a Tamil and well versed in Tamil, the Tamil word will come naturally. Yeah. Tamil nu solla vendirukku, Tamil nu kuda varamaatendrathu. Look at that. Tamil nu kuda varala, Tamil dhaan varudhu. Now, what would you call that as? It is not negative. This is the language that I am trained in. I am comfortable with this. That is the language that that person is trained in. That is that person's comfort. Now, there is no negativity here. Are you able to follow? It means what? I have a behavioral pattern according to my training. The other person has a behavioral pattern according to
their training.
In the Ramayana, I heard this long back. Till today, I tell you, this is something that has changed my thinking dramatically. There used to be this ex-High Court judge, M.M. Ismail. He was the judge of Madras High Court, and he was also a authority in Kamba Ramayana. Not a Hindu is an authority in Kamba Ramayana, the way in which Ismail is an authority. To an extent where when the Acharya here has a doubt on Kamba Ramayana, he will call Ismail to clarify. He will not call any other scholar. How do I know that? Is because I myself personally went twice as a messenger between the two. I know it personally. Such a wonderful man. So, in one of the discussions, he said, if Rama left the palace and went, everybody says it's a great thing, correct? Bharata also left the palace and went, telling Rama to come back. Ismail, he said it so beautifully. He said, see, look at their training. Look at the lineage they are from. The lineage, the training, the culture. If you have studied under guru like Vasishtha, if you are a part of the Raghuvamsa, having trained and studied under a guru like Vasishtha, normally you have to do this. When a person like the tribal king, who is the tribal king in Ramayana that served Rama? The tribal king who served Rama, Guha. Look at that fellow's background, look at that fellow's culture, look at that fellow's education, and when he does something extraordinary, between the two, what would you place, who would you place on a higher pedestal? He said, in my opinion, I will place Guha, he said. In my opinion, I will place Guha. People can have their own opinions about this. I'm not getting into the Pattimandram discussion now. But whatever your inner nature is, whatever you are trained, whatever your culture is, that's what will come out of you. Are you able to follow now? Whatever you are trained, whatever your culture, whatever your evolution is, that is what will come out of you. It means when you see a negativity, it's not that you don't see it as negativity. If somebody is picking another man's purse, you will not say he is doing a charitable activity. You will not say that. You will also understand that he is only picking the purse. How is that reaction happening in you is the challenge. Is the reaction one of understanding and compassion? See, if the reaction is out of understanding, compassion will come. If the reaction is one of your own conditioning, the response will be. If the reaction happens out of understanding, the response would be different. If the reaction is through the mind, which is what predominantly that happens in most of the human beings, what he is saying here is, you are reacting because
you have it.
You have it. Who will be the loudest against the thief? Psychology have proved it. Who will be the loudest against the thief? You know who will be the loudest against the thief? Another thief. There is a whole lot of a study and such a beautiful conclusion. One corrupt person will bitterly complain about the corruption of others. Why? Because there is a competition, no? Because of the sheer competition. Are you able to follow? A moralist, a person assumes the position of a moralist, assuming that he doesn't have that mistake in him. Just as the turkey assumed the position of the moralist, saying that human beings have no right to do this. Are you able to follow? A human being assumes the position of a moralist, thinking that he or she doesn't have this same mistake in them. Vedanta comes and says, it's not even similar, it is the same, more pronounced. More pronounced. It is a very subtle point to accept, not to understand. Understanding part is not difficult. To accept that maybe this is true in relation to me is difficult. In the point, I will use the word maybe. Maybe this point is true to me, and ability to inquire into that is self-analysis. Maybe what they are saying is true. Let me openly analyze about myself and see if I have it in me, is what is introversion all about. I may conclude and say, no, I don't have it. I may conclude and say, I don't have it. But you can't conclude by you are the lawyer and you are the judge. You know that? You are the lawyer who will argue for yourself. And who's the judge? Who will give judgment?
I myself.
You can be the lawyer, but judgment has to be left to somebody else. No, are you able to follow? In extroversion, you are the lawyer and you are the lawyer and you are the judge yourself. Are you able to follow what I'm saying now? You are the lawyer and you are the judge yourself. It means what? You argue for yourself, and who concludes? See, lawyer and judge ore aala irundha enna agum? What will happen? You will always win, the other will always lose. It means what? You will always be right, the other will always be wrong. Vedanta says, you be the lawyer, leave the judgment to the higher intellect. You be the lawyer, that is okay, but you don't be the judge also. In extroversion, what is the problem? The problem is, I am the lawyer and I am the lawyer and I am the judge. Yeah. திருடங்கையில சாவி கொடுத்து ஜாக்கிரதையா பாத்துக்கோ பண்ற மாதிரியா. You don't leave the keys with that fellow itself, isn't it? You leave it to him, what will happen? This is what will happen. Are you able to follow, Suresh?
Yes, sir.
Technically, this is what is happening. You be the lawyer. You have to be a lawyer for your own self. But who has to judge? Who has to decide? Not you. You can't be the lawyer and you can't be your own judge. Most of the time, people decide first, conclude first, judgments are passed, and then arguments are given. No. Thinking happens secondary. Conclusions happen first. Conclusions are immediate, instantaneous. Arguments comes later to support the
conclusion.
This is what they call as, this is what is called as extroversion. What is introversion? You have a viewpoint, you say it, but then you are open to the concluding part would be done by a higher. The concluding part would be done, will always be done by a higher intellect. Either your own intellect or somebody, or you borrow the intellect from somebody. But either way, it is the intellect. The Bhagavad Gita so beautifully he puts it. Tasmat shastram pramanam te. Arjuna, you have your own reasonings, you have your own arguments. But after giving your reasoning and arguments, allow the Shastras to let the Shastras conclude for you as to whether it is positive or negative, right or wrong, good or bad. You don't conclude. This is how technically it works. Are you able to follow?
Yes.
Senses receive the stimuli. I'm just summarizing it now. The senses receive the stimuli. The senses, when it receives the stimuli, it can react with the mind in the absence of intellect, or in the presence of the intellect, the stimuli can react with the intellect or with the mind. When it reacts with the mind, what happens? It means we need to know what the mind is made up of. What is the mind made up of? Likes and dislikes. So when it interacts with the mind, when it interacts with the mind, likes and dislikes, it necessarily will follow what the mind likes is positive, what the mind doesn't like is negative. No. Is that the standard for positivity and negativity? Vedanta says it cannot be so. So how do you react? You allow the intellect to react, or if you don't have an intellect to react, you borrow it temporarily. You borrow it. And what is the intellect outside of you? Shastram is that intellect. Shastram is that intellect outside of you, which helps you in this. Are you okay, Suresh?
Yes, sir. So when I say I see negativity in others, which means I see the likes and dislikes.
Yes.
Which is confronting my likes and dislikes. Therefore, there is a pain.
Exactly correct. That's all it is. Okay.
Fight
is not between positivity and negativity. The fight is between
likes and dislikes.
Correct. Ragadvesha versus another Ragadvesha. One Ragadvesha will fight with another Ragadvesha only. How can one Ragadvesha will have a friendship and compassion with another Ragadvesha? Yeah. Boundary danda kudadu. Yeah, street dogs madri adu. As long as the other dog doesn't cross the boundary, it is all right. The cat can cross, the bird can cross, anybody else can cross the boundary and come. Even the lion and tiger can cross and come. But who should not cross?
Neighbor.
Another dog. Another dog should not cross. That's the holiest thing on this world. The moment another dog crosses, you can see the whole thing. So from this, what do you understand? Are you able to follow? So the fight is not between positivity and negativity. The fight is always between Ragadvesha versus Ragadvesha. Seriya? Suresh?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
With this, I conclude for today. And then from next week, we will start from the paragraph. It is a social crime. Another thought flow. The analysis goes more deeper into the next level, which I would continue in the next session. We conclude for today. Hari Om.